Hey, you guys. Happy to be here again for another episode with the greatest trader, Alex Wasilewski. We're super happy to have you here. We're super excited. And by the way, you guys, by the second you will hear Alex's story, you will realize why we get so excited by having you here today. So for first and foremost, Alex, thank you for being here. It's an absolute pleasure for us. How are you today?
Thank you for having me. Yeah, no, I'm honored.
No, we're honored. Now, so before we'll start, please, I would love if you can share a little bit more about yourself and tell all the listeners who you are, because you're an absolute cool person, and I would like that everyone will get to know you.
Well, okay. I'm not going to do the 700-page memoir, which has not been published yet. I have to edit it. How about this? If you want to know who I am, picture a real life Forrest Gump. Okay, somebody who bumps into different careers. I'm going to be 75 years old on October 22nd, hopefully. And during that time, I've had over 60 careers, 60 different careers, not just working for 60 gas stations, but everything from New York police officer to stockbroker to used car salesman to owning a flight transport service. I'm a pilot. So it's been, and I've been a whistleblower. I don't like corrupt people somehow, and it just makes me lose a career now and then, but I'll always find something else. And I'm finally have found my niche, which is day trading, because I don't have a boss except for my clients and the market. I get paid whether if I'm good. If I don't, I don't get paid, and it's simple active survival. So here I am, and I love this business. I've been working at it 7 days a week since 2006, almost during the week, 14 hours a day. But I don't look at it as work. I look at it as a temporary vacation that keeps going on.
Awesome. Brilliant. So, um, you know what? I would like to start by the first question. So, you have mentioned that you're inside of the business for a long period of time, and I would like to ask you for how long have you been inside of the business, and what have you discovered about yourself that caught your interest that really plays the main role in your presence within the business? Like, um, what do you think that it's the most important characteristic that you have that have left you so far, that have left you so long within the business? That's actually my question in summary.
Okay, that's a great question, and there's really two answers for me. Number one, I
Mhm.
hate bullies. I was picked on as a kid, and I took up martial arts to defend myself and got pretty good at it. So I later on found that bullies in the schoolyard are minor compared with the insidious bullies like corrupt politicians, the bad government, even organizations that can have bad apples like police departments, uh, banks, brokerage houses, people who abuse and take advantage of those less fortunate, the downtrodden, I call them. So that was one motivating factor to fight injustice. Well, when I trade, I take money from Wall Street and put it in my pocket and my clients' pockets. Number two is I just never like to lose. My heroes were all winners. Mickey Mantle as a baseball player, and then Tom uh, Tom Brady in football. Uh, some of these people, and then my wife, my deceased wife, was a great hero because she suffered for 14 years with multiple sclerosis and never once complained. And so, how could I complain about bad traffic? My car broke down, sweating the small stuff. And I think those combinations uh, eventually lead to success. Success is fighting challenges. And that's how I look at it.
Mhm. Now, I would like to ask you about like success and everything else about it, like in that specific field. Um, how do you measure success in trading? What do you look at when you trade, and how and what individual approach do you reference for success?
Great question there too. I found no matter how much you want to be a loner and a do-it-yourselfer, the lone wolf, wolves in the natural environment wind up eating berries if they don't have a pack. They certainly can't take down an elk by themselves, so they are outcasts. Lions too. Your strongest predators, most of them, maybe a tiger or jaguar, most of them band together. The pack is your survival. So for me, if I wanted to succeed, I had to find like-minded individuals, people who would be uh, of the same mindset, but also good coaches. So with trading, I sought the best coaches, and my original coach was
Mhm.
Wells Wilder. When I was a police officer and I was fighting corruption, well, I got my car shot at. So I knew that career couldn't last too long. So trading was one way out of it. So I found a great coach to taught me to trade. I was fortunate enough to be transferred to a very uh, what I call an honest police department, which was the highest paid in the country at the time, the Suffolk County, New York Police Department. And I developed my trading skills at the same time under great coaching. Well, after a while, my trading skills got better than my salary as a police officer in Wall Street. Started reaching out. I didn't realize there were more corrupt crooks in Wall Street than any kind of corrupt police department. But here I merged onto uh, a big Wall Street firm and learned to trade. But then I found out that the trading firms took advantage of their clients. And so now I had another situation, another whistleblowing thing. So I quit that and became a truck driver, but I still knew how to trade. I could always survive by my skill at trading. And it became more and more important. As I became more of a whistleblower, I had less job opportunities. And then being a caretaker to my wife, ultimately, and that was in 2001, she passed away. There was nothing left but trading and either survive or perish. That was it. So I guess having your back against the wall and not treating trading as a casino was first learning how not to lose, not becoming rich, just trying to make a loaf of bread per day. So I became really good at not losing money and developing a winning streak.
So after I have learned a little bit more about your background in trading, I would like to ask you, Alex, how do you approach trading? What instruments do you trade today? And I would like to ask you a little deep question about your trading in general, which will be what instruments do you trade today? What instruments have you used to trade? And what strategy help you to outperform the markets or to make that annual those annual returns for you and for your clients?
Another great question. And, the best
Thank you
teacher.
for the compliments.
Well, no, I appreciate it. And I wish a lot of my clients would ask the same questions because then I could turn it as a mirror to themselves and said, what made
So
you the
I should be
biggest?
your client. I should be your client. So
Well,
after the
you're
power coding
certainly welcome.
session, let's
Yeah, you're welcome. I'm going to give
Thank
you a
you.
link to sign up and before you venture out into it, test the people. People follow dreams and hype, and there's so much. This industry. Anybody can start a website. You could have a 10-year-old saying he's the world's greatest trader in the world. Well, let's see your statements. Show me your broker statements. You don't need. I don't need to have your social security card on it, but show me your broker statements. But even that's still the past. What makes it good? Everybody wants to back test everything. Well, you can curve fit the past make it look good, sell this stuff, and disappear into the woodwork. Uh, One of the people I arrested on the Long Island Expressway was a con man. He worked for a guy named Frank Abagnale in a famous movie, Catch Me If You Can. The guy got away with ripping people off for 7 years by appealing to their greed. So everybody wants to get rich first, and they don't want to hear about the risk. So all I did was study the biggest loser that I knew, me. I lost money trying this stuff for 49 months in a row, which is probably a world record. Why? I think everybody could lose for 49 months, but most people give up before that. I was too stupid and then too desperate. I just had to keep going because I had no other options. But then I started learning from my coaches. Then I stopped being the lone wolf, hired good coaching, but even there, they gave me Larry Williams was another great coach, and then Linda Raschke. These were famous coaches. But what they did was they taught me how to win, but I had to first learn how not to lose. So how do you learn not to lose? Learn from the best coach in the world, the market. Mr. Market is the best coach, but he's the most expensive because he'll teach you by taking your money away. When you get burnt enough and you could fight your ego and say, all right, I give up. You got to give up. It's almost like being an alcoholic, a gamblerholic, and say, that's it. I am a loser. What am I doing wrong? Okay, let me review my trades. Well, I found that what I would do was take a well known signal. There are many, you could find them in a book, but wait until it's too late. So I was skeptical. I would find, like today, the market was going up, up, up right before the open. And I said, watch this. The institutions which manipulate the market, it is manipulated short term, they're going to sell it off hard to stop everybody out. All those nice little people following the little trend, they're going to stop them all out. When they stop them all out, there is panic. And I call it prospering from panic. The panic's over. And as soon as it reverses, you go long because that's what they wanted to do. And voila, I was the victim of that all these years or 49 months because I
Mhm.
would watch the market breaking out to the upside at 9:30 Eastern. It's the opening time and say, wow, it's going up, which it did. But first it had to come down. Now, an institution can't buy, and I know I'm getting into so much here. I'm trying to squeeze it all in. Remember, I've been doing this for 40 years, and 40 minutes is going to be hard to squeeze it all in, but I'm trying.
50, I'm
So
sorry.
the market goes up. Okay. And then it tanks. Well, they stop them all out. When the stopping's over, you get that little W near the end, maybe 6 minutes. We found that 6 minutes after the open, the market reverses again, but it's too late for the newbie. So I would go in, get out with a loss, and then the market would go back. That we called the tardy trader trap. I labeled it the triple T's. We have a system based on the triple T's, which works over 90% of the time. But you have to be patient. You have to be willing to forego the so called great opportunity, wait till everybody loses on the great opportunity, and then jump in. And then have a very close stop if you're wrong. So big winner, small loser. And that's how you have a risk reward where the profile is in your favor and not the big boys. So the triple T is my bread and butter.
I understand. So, following the triple T, I would like to ask you, you have mentioned that the market is the most expensive coach you'll ever find, and I agree with you because they will take your money without even questioning yourself. Um, but I would like to know, Alex, out of your experience teaching a bunch of students, I would like to ask you this. You know that the market is manipulating. I don't think the market is actually manipulating. I just think they are market makers and liquidity providers that they aim to reach those high liquidity zones in order to catch the big buy because it's typically proven out there. So I would like to ask you, following that knowledge that the market will take your money. I would like to get educated about how you approached and how you approach right now as well those manipulation areas, and how do you take care of them as a trader?
Okay, I'll give you a great example. Um, I mean, I was there, so I saw it for my own eyes. You know, most of these people who are running trading rooms have never worked on Wall Street, so they don't know how it works. But there, do you remember the movie, the original movie? I'm going to give you a little trivia question right now. I
All
know
right.
you're much younger than the original movie, Wall Street, with Michael
Huh.
Douglas. You remember that movie? Did you ever see it?
Actually,
Won the
that's
Academy Award.
that's a bit humiliating, but I do not remember. I just do not
Okay, here's a
remember.
little inside information I'll provide. My client at that time was Oliver Stone, who was the producer and director of a number of movies. Then it was Wall Street. Now you're going to laugh, but here's the trivia question. When Gordon Gekko had a transaction which was illegal in the movie, he had to hide that money in an international offshore hedge fund. The name of that, and I'd let people guess, was Blue Horseshoe. Well, I'm the president of Blue Horseshoe, still am, even back
Mhm.
then. When Oliver Stone asked me, he was doing research on Wall Street, and if you notice in the movie, he dedicates it to his father, Lewis, who was also a broker where I worked at Merrill Lynch. So he asked, "Well, how do you recruit brokers?" He says, "You look for great traders, people who track what you have to produce." I said, "No," and it's in the movie. He honored me by putting that in the quote, and I'll do it right now. I don't have a prompter in front of me. You get no, we don't hire Wall Street people because they're sheep and sheep get slaughtered. You give me a guy who's poor, smart, and hungry, no feelings, win a few, lose a few, but you keep on fighting. And if you need a friend, get a dog. That was Michael Douglas's speech in there. It came from what I said. Well, guess what? How does this work? As your question was, how do we make money from that kind of manipulation? Well, they're all sheep. So I'm a broker getting in at 7 a.m. New York time into my office. What am I going to do for my boss? I want to manipulate the market. I can't manipulate by myself. So I'm going to find out what our overseas operations, which is 24 hours, what are they doing in London? So I'm going to call Lloyd up. Hey, Lloyd, what have you guys been doing? 4 a.m. New York time. He goes, oh, we went long. We made 142 points on the upside. Guess what? There's my metric. I got to try to make 142 points to follow him. Where'd you buy? Well, he tells us. Is that inside information? Well, in the company it is. Well, if you're a client, this is not illegal inside information because I can make that available to the clients. Anybody could be my clients, not a select few. If you want to become a client, you can pay. So what we're going to do, we know that that the little trader has stops in the market. Everybody's coached on using stops. So what do they also do? They also get into trades too late. So between 8:30 and 9:30, the market starts going up. What they're going to do right before the open with our hedge fund clients, I'm going to get on the phone, not me anymore, but when I worked for the firm, they get on the phone and say, "Don't worry, we you could do a trade in your own account. What do you need me for? What do you need to pay $50,000 a month to Goldman when you could do the trade yourself? Here's why you pay them. Because now I'll say, don't worry, we're going to short the market. We're going to run those stops. As panic ensues over the next 6 minutes, you can start buying cheap because you bought your 1,000 contracts at the market. You drive it up. Look at the fills. I trade exclusively the Dow Jones futures because it's a lot easier to manipulate 30 stocks. There's a lot of brokers listening. If they listen to this podcast, they're going to hate me. You know why? I'm telling what happens every day on the street. So they short it. Now they start running the stops, and they've got you on the phone. They say, see it going down, it's going down, down, down. Start buying. Just buy a little at a time. Everybody looks at, oh, they want to see 1,000 contracts. They don't. They're going to buy two or three at a time, but they can do it lightning fast. Two, 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 two. They're buying on the way down. You, as poor Mr. Newbie, getting stopped out with your $200 loss. You're frustrated. Your weekend you were looking forward to making money in the weekend. You lost again. I lost that way all the time. and then it goes back up. Look, we're making new highs right now. The market has last trade 43,321. Where did it go down this morning? You watch. We have a thing called a volatility measurement. I give that out to all my clients in the morning. Where did it go down this morning? It went down. We said it was 141 points. Right off the open, if you look at 929, the market was trading at 43,118. It went down in 5 minutes to 42,988. Isn't that amazing? And then it reversed and went up. Only took 4 minutes, and yet 4 minutes is enough to wipe out a small account to a loss, even if they have these funded accounts. And then, of course, when all the little guys lost, the big guys bought it up. It happens over 85% of the time, every single day. Mark my words, follow it. But people don't believe it. And that's why they don't make money. It's sad. And the big boys are done by 10:30. Then there's a 10:30. I can get into all these things that I've learned over 40 years of doing it. And if the little guy wants to just give up, and stop reading these $29 books that don't teach you this, they too can take advantage of the, what the big guys know.
Hmm. Wow. I would like to, for how many years do you trade, Alex?
How many? I'm sorry.
For how many years do you trade, Alex?
I opened my first account in 1976. And
1976,
then,
so approximately.
yeah, I started Wall Street on Wall Street job. And when my twin girls were born in 1981. That's when I
Wow.
left the Suffolk County Police Department. And it was funny. It was in the front page. I had, because of the whistleblowing, I was called Serpico too, because I exposed police corruption in Eastern Long Island. And so Suffolk, which was an honest police department, they hired me. And when I left, the inspector said, if this guy is half as good in the stock market as he is, you know, as a police officer, he's going to retire very rich. Well, I haven't retired yet, but half of that is true. I am pretty wealthy. And again, my goal now is to just make the little guy. I've got the institutional clients. They retain my services, but I still like to see, like, a person who flew in from Seattle last week to here in Florida. He stayed with me for a week, and he already, he says, for the first time, I didn't know this. I didn't know this. And now he made money today, and he's like all excited. I just hope he doesn't get too excited and take what's small and build it up small, little bit at a time, and just go and bet the ranch and lose it all. If he succeeds by just looking to try to make 1% on his account every day and lose no more than 2%. See, people don't think in percentages, they're thinking of dollar amounts. Believe it or not, I get people all the time and say, I'd be
That's so
happy making
stupid.
$500 a day. Oh, great. How much are you going to start with? About $700, $800. I said, wait a minute. You want to make almost double your account every day? Yeah, that's all, just a little. I said, well, if you could do that, Warren Buffett would hire you. He would retire. Goldman Sachs would make you chairman of the board. If you could double your money every day and document that, they will start you off with like $10 million signing bonus and give you all the clients. No one alive can do that, but they want to do it and they believe it's possible. And they're angry when you tell them it's not. So then they go to the websites. I don't want to mention it. Few of them have been censured by the CFTC. This one clown he starts with $500 and ran it to 12 million in 2 years. If you believe that, I
Wow.
grew up near the Brooklyn Bridge. I'll sell you the toll booths for the Brooklyn Bridge, and you can collect all the tolls. Just send a check to me. There hasn't been a toll on the Brooklyn Bridge since it was constructed in 1880 or something. But I'll sell it to you if you want. So it's sad what people believe.
I think the misconception that like most people consume nowadays, like because of like all those YouTube videos and those misflowing information. I think that people really miss how they should intervene within the markets. And I would like to ask you, Alex, out of your experience, now let's talk more in practical. Um, can you please tell us uh, your approach on trading? How do you approach a trade? What do you look for? What do you aim for? What is it like? I'm not asking you to dive deep inside of your setup, of course, but I just want to learn what is your way of thinking once you get inside of a trade.
Great. And that is very important. The preparation, the mental preparation. Number one, I separate
Not
news
just the mental
from trading.
preparation, but just the entire operational
Yeah,
process.
well, it first starts with the mental. First, I wake up and say, I
Very
can't
mental.
predict anything. I can't predict anything. So I'm going to follow the market, not predict it. I'm going to follow Mr. Market. I put a face on the market because really it's not lines on a chart. These are real people trading. And I start thinking for myself, I don't want to listen to the news. The news is so biased now. Anyway, you either have right side who, hates the left side, and don't get me started on that. Again, as being a whistleblower and someone who hates bullies, one of the things that motivated me was a video. It wasn't a video, it was a TV show showing, uh, you know, the people being led to Treblinka, and I'm looking at 10,000 people being controlled by four dirtbag Nazi soldiers with a gun. And I said, eh, you know, this is horrible the way and even now I am embarrassed to live in the United States watching uh, people supporting terrorists, Hamas. I mean, I don't want to get political, but
Yeah.
if I were, if I had a machine gun, I'd feel like shooting them. I mean,
Mm.
they're just as bad as the animals in the Mid East. Anyway, that's uh, my heart goes out to victims, and it's amazing how uh, the people of Israel are outnumbered, and they're so strong, and that inspires me. That so I have to be strong when I'm trading. So number one, how do I be strong? I'm going to follow the leader, a good leader, which is the market. The market's pure. The market is unbiased. So I look to see what the trend is. I have three elements to look at the trend every day: the 60-minute trend, the 15-minute trend, and what we call the daily pivot. So that's my bias for the day. If the market is above all three, I'm looking to buy, but I'm not looking to buy after the market makes a move. Since I trade short term, I've also learned from my coaches that there's a 27-minute cycle. So I'm waiting for a decline of about 27 minutes. So there is my approach to I'm saying, okay, if the market's going up today, well, we'll wait till people who are greedy take profits, and that will drive the market back down. Not all the way down, but somewhat. I don't have strict mathematical formulas. I don't say it has to come down a Fibonacci retracement or anything. Fibonacci didn't trade pork bellies. So I wait for a decline. I'll watch stochastics. And then once the market starts buying, I read the tape. The tape is is the goal to watch, the time and sales. When all of a sudden you start seeing people hit the offer instead of the bid as going down, the sellers, people who are taking profits, are happy. They don't care. They're not going to wait too much. They'll just, oh, whatever the market is, it's like an auction. They will sell at the market. So you'll see the bids being hit, and the time in sales, it'll start going down. Let it go down for 27 minutes. And then when everybody's starting to think that the market is going to go down, a little too late. It's gone down for 27 minutes. I look for the first hint up. I might draw a trend line. I might just look for a hook in the stochastics. There's two or three ways, or a little W pattern. W patterns after the. Now you see how I'm sort of building out to the so called system that's going to work over 80% of the time. I'm verbalizing it. I'm narrating actually what I'm looking on the charts. So then the market will go down, it'll go down, make a new low, break through support. They call that a fake out breakout, and then immediately go up. And all I'm thinking of is trading against the old Alex, the Alex who lost money for 49 months, and saying he would have gone short down here. Immediately when it starts going up, that's when I buy. And my stop is the point at which it returned, because who's going to move the market? Not me with my 10 contracts, but real buying power. So the big boys have gotten their pullback, the profit taking's over, and those who missed the trade, now they're going in to buy because it's finally retraced to an acceptable level. 27 minutes are up, which is about all the average small trader can last. That's why it works, the 27-minute cycle. And then it starts back up. We go long, stop right under the low 2 or 3 times for the day. Don't overtrade. I'm done. And I can go about playing with my cats, go for a swim in the pool, go jogging or something else, and not worry about over trading like a casino. That's how I approach the market every single day.
But why do you feel that most traders um overvenge the markets?
Hmm. Overstay their bounds, would you say? Would that be is that part of the question
No,
too? Like, why
why
do
do
they
you think
stay
that
in it?
they revenge the markets because they have lost money, they have lost a substantial amount of money. Why do you think they went back
Yeah,
inside and
yeah, the
just
market owes them. So yeah, that's a great point. Um, the same way I did. I read about these legendary traders, so I wanted to be like them, and they make $1 million on a trade. So I'm going to try to make $1 million. I'm looking, and like we talked about before, if I have a small account, oh, by the way, when I lost all that money, how did I turn it around? Nobody cares about that question. By the way, they want to make $1 million. Well, my coach, Linda, she said, listen, throw away all your books, all your preconceived notions. Your goal is to make $35 in a day and quit. I said, $35? You know how much money I lost? It's going to take me 100 years to make that money. Well, she said, can you make $35? I said, yeah, any idiot can make $35, but I have to make $35. She said, well, then try to be an idiot for 1 month. And here's the last thing that my fiance at that time instilled in me, which worked. I know it's unconventional. Two things. I wasn't using stops because I knew everything. By the way, I was a good stock. How did I last that long? I was a good stock picker. So don't get me wrong. I wasn't a total neophyte. I understood. I made a lot of money in the stock market picking stocks. So I felt if I could find a good stock that will make you 40, 50% on your money in 18 months, well, anybody could make money in one day. It's easy to predict what's going to happen by 4 o'clock. No, time is on your side with a good company. If Microsoft falters for a while, good management will find out what they're doing wrong and correct. Well, the stock market is different that way. A good company is different than the futures market. You have 6 hours to be right. Time is not your friend. So I had to use stops. Well, what better way to take the white wall behind my computer and paint in red with real red paint? Trade with stops or get out of the business. The paint was dripping down the wall. It looked like something from Stephen King's movie, The Shining, red rum, so it's trade with stops or get out of the business. That was number one. Number two, people don't have an exit plan. So I needed an exit plan. You know what my exit plan was? What was I going to
Mhm.
do if I lost money for 50 months in a row? My fiance finally said, look, this is eating you up. You've always been a winner. This is the one thing you're losing at. Hey, still not too bad of a record. Accept it. What will I do if I couldn't make $1 at the end of that last month? That was the last month. Well, work at Walmart. Anybody could work at Walmart. So I went and got a job application and filled it out. This is reality. Everybody make money, I'll make money tomorrow. But reality is, if I don't do this right, I'm going to be working at Walmart next month. And I'll be, a greeter because I was already getting old. I was near in my mid 50s before I started succeeding at this, right? I was born in 1949. And here we are in 2006, like when am I going to get this right? Well, I'd be the worst greeter in the world. Somebody would come up and say, "Sir, where's the underwear?" I'd say, "On your butt. Get out of here. I used to be a trader. I could have been a success, and here I am working." So I had an application on the left of my screen. I left that there, and on the right, I had an old airplane once, an Arrow. I put a picture of a brand new airplane on the right. In this case, it was a Cirrus, the one with the. I'm a safety guy, the one with the parachute in it. Put a picture of that on the right, a Walmart application on the left, and said one of them is going to be me. And luckily, it was the Cirrus. But that month, I had to, and then my coach said, "Well, you make $35." I said, "Well, any idiot can do that." So that was my challenge. And believe it or not, I still had losing days during that month. I finished the month up $172. I never had a losing month since then because I learned finally what I did wrong. And I just vowed not to do it again. So, first, keep good records of what you're doing and what the conditions were. Then don't do them. It's like the going to the doctor and say, like when I bend my elbow and sit down and it hurts, and the doctor will tell you, don't do that. That's the secret.
I would like to talk. I'm just thinking about what you have exposed here, but I would love to talk about more about you as a teacher or you as an educational model that people looks at. Um, how do you teach people to trade the stock market? How do you pass them your values and the pains into an actionable points that you have experienced onto your students, and what's the actual educational path they're being through in order to make a much more experienced journey within the financial markets.
Great. Oh, yeah. Now that's the real thing that, I mean, what good is it? Everybody loves track records, and I posted mine, my real statements. But how does that help you? How can you succeed? Well, every book that you see, if all these books are great, if all these coaches are great, how come 92% of people who trade lose money? What is everybody stupid? Well, no, because here's the problem. The guru, so-called guru, tells you how they made money. It's all, last week a guy said, "What's the syllabus?" I said, "Well, I had a syllabus, but the syllabus doesn't work. It's what your syllabus." In other words, I could show you we have 6 different real trading methods. I guarantee you couldn't follow 5 of them. You wouldn't want to. So, what good is it for me to say, use the moving average of a 20 period moving average with stochastics? And if it goes this way, go long on a buy stop. You'll find it uncomfortable. You can't trade it. So, I'm going to analyze what you've done in the past and find your, let's say, motivation for a trade. What makes you want to trade? Okay, we'll structure your trading plan around your style and show you the way
If
to
I will
make
tell you
your
that my
better.
motivation to trade is money, how would you respond?
Um, Good. You should be motivated by money, but how about even better than that, the ability to be better, to make yourself better at anything. So money's a metric, obviously, but if it's only money, then I'll tell you what you should do. Just run a trading room. All these guys are running trading rooms are making money, but their clients are not. So if that's all you want, fine, then just run a trading room. Create. any kind of BS system and say you found the holy grail. People will desperately pay you money for it. You sell it like here. There's a one the guy who actually has. Believe it or not, here's the deal. This frustrates me a little bit. Now we're in what makes me angry. I teach people, my traders, the ones who've taken the course, 92% of them have succeeded. They've either started their own trading room or they've gone on to become
They have
professional traders
started
by
their own
themselves.
trading room, like as an
Yes.
individual traders or as a
No,
proprietary
trading room
traders.
for like, Barry's trading service. Oh yeah. I can show you the ones that do it. Here's the problem.
I'd love to.
Uh, yeah, most of them uh, jumped in too soon. They really aren't good coaches because they learned one setup from me and figure, well, now I'll have that trading and everybody can trade that system. Well, maybe people can't. I've had, here's another, and I'll be honest with you, right? I've had that have come through my door at one time or another, paid me some kind of money, trial, of course, 19,842 clients.
Uh,
Where are they today? If you came into my room, where are they? Why aren't they there? Well, some of them have gone on to trade themselves successful, but the average trader comes to me. A great example. Here's a guy last year, Tim, who got injured in a forklift accident. And he said he wanted to really get out of that job in a warehouse and all. He was sick and tired of it. And he put $5,000 in an account. He paid me for one part of the course, the tape reading course that I did. He didn't fill the whole thing out, but he started because he didn't have enough money. So believe it or not, in now, how would you look at it this way? In 3 months, a little over 3 months, he doubled his money in his account. Is that good or bad?
awesome. More than awesome.
Awesome. Perfect. Yeah, it'd be great. He had to quit. How much did he make? A little over $5,000. His wife came up to him and said, we've got a son that's going to start college next month, and you're sitting here, the breadwinner, and you make $5,000 in 3 months. Now you come to reality. Oh my goodness. Yeah, he had to quit, and there's nothing wrong with that. He didn't have enough money to begin with. I wish I could have, made him $1,000 a day, but let's look at what he did do, right? He was making $1,500 a month. You can't live with a family of four with a kid going to college on $1,500 a month in New York. It just couldn't be done. Yet he had a great thing. These people don't realize if you go to McDonald's, you can deal with McDonald's two ways and earn a good living with them. Either flip burgers, right? That's not such a good living, but you can earn a living immediately, $15 an hour flipping burgers, or you could buy a franchise. Which way is going to support you? Now, what does a McDonald's franchise owner make according to their records? 28% per year. So you give them $1 million and you'll make $280,000 at the end of the year. Well, my clients would look to make $1 million per day. They can't do that. So 28%, that's reasonable. And that's McDonald's. My clients can do better. I'll give you another example. The Wharton School of Business, considered a top business school in the country, if not the world. Uh, what do you know what their cost of tuition is for the 2 year MBA program? You have an idea of
Mm,
that? Okay,
no.
it's about $200,000, and you got to live in Philadelphia. You can't be homeless, so you got to live there. That's going to cost you at least another. So it's going to cost near $300,000 to get to the 2 years, and now you're a Wharton grad. You could even run for president of the United States. You'd be a Wharton grad. So how do you know what the top 10% of Wharton grads are starting at right now? I got to lower this. It's one of my favorite movies, Top Gun. I got an instrument rating in 4 days. That tied an aviation record after being afraid of flying. Um, the top 10% of Wharton grads, what do you think they start with? Have an idea of starting salary, which is pretty good.
No,
Take a wild
I
guess.
don't. I actually don't know.
Okay, no problem.
I need to
$150,000
work on my I need to
a
work on
year.
my nostalgic nostalgic knowledge about like trading. You asked me a question about the Wall Street and I do not know that scene right now. I do
Well, that's
really need
part
to
of the
learn.
history. I love this. That's why. Hey, you work 14 hours a day in this, and after a while, it's like your family. It's like you know what your daughter's favorite dessert is. I mean, that's to me. That's why I'm a walking encyclopedia. Uh, yeah, it's $150,000 a year. Now, the math part of it that comes out to, again, I don't expect you to jump at or anyone to jump, $71 an hour. My clients, after completing about three to 6 months of training, are averaging $150 an hour, and they're told to be done right away. Again, they have a little bit bigger account than a $500 account, but think about that. Takes less than 2 years. They don't have to pay me $300,000, and they're making double what a Wharton grad makes. That's why it's so popular. But if you start with a $5,000 account, you're not going to get rich. So it's sad and it's inspiring at the same time, depending upon the initial input that a person has. However, what if you're retired, which is where most of my clients tend to gravitate from? The average client that I have is 59 years of age. They've either sold a business early, retiring early, they don't want to play golf all day, and maybe they can devote 1 or 2 hours only to trading and pick up a couple of $100 extra to Social Security. Now, the wealthier ones are doing a lot better than that, but that's all they want. They want a means of doing it without being a Walmart clerk or having to take a second job. And this way they have a very nice lifestyle because,
Mhm.
I mean, my Social Security payments right now, and I live in a very nice area in Florida. Tom Cruise used to live down the block with Nicole Kidman. This was a long time ago, so you could picture. I get $2,800 a month in Social Security. I'd be out of here in like 6 months. I would be homeless. I'd be eating out of a dumpster. But the average person wants to make millions with, a $5,000 account. Percentage wise, we can do it. So if they have realistic assumptions and treat this like a business, one of my earlier coaches, guy named Jay, he said you have to trade with apathy. And what he meant by that was that it's sort of boring. And here's how we start people: we start them on a simulator. Now, you know what? Why don't people like simulators? Why would you not want, let's say, have you ever traded with a simulator before or started that way?
Mhm. Many
Yeah.
times.
What people don't like it for what reason? It's not real. I said, what do you mean? Well, you don't experience the real fear, right? The greed. You don't feel like the exaltation of having a tremendous gain, a skyrocket, a blowout trade, and you don't, almost blow out your account to feel. This is that your goal? No, it should be apathy. You should be trading on a simulator the way we started, really small. We don't trade. Everybody wants to put, well, I'll trade 100 contracts on the simulator and I'll make $1 million today trading. No, because then your mind knows when you start for real, hey, you're kidding yourself. So we start on a simulator with a micro mini account. Your job is to make $10 a day. Okay. When you've done that, now let's try for $20. Well, that's kind of boring. Well, let's go to $30. Well, next thing you know, after 6 months, you're up to $250, $300 a day. And guess what? I'd start Bill Gates out that way too if he started. The idea is to show your own track record. You see, aren't we sick and tired of reading all these guys who have $500 into 12 million? Then when you look at your track record, not you personally, I meant your as a,
Yeah, of
you
course.
one's track record and said, well, I started out with 10,000, now I have 1,800 left in the account. How come my accounts go on a downward? You know, the graph looks great if you're doing a handstand, but otherwise people all lose. And the big guys are making money because number one, it's not their money. Why do all these floor traders, and there's no more floor in Chicago, it's gone. Two, by the way, if you want to know something, when the floors were shutting down, going electronic, two of the biggest, most experienced and successful floor traders in history came to me for coaching. One was a guy named Louis Borsellino. They could look it up. The other one was the most successful floor trader in history, Mark Slobodnik, who came to my house to learn to trade. Now, why would that happen? I'm a little guy. I don't trade millions of dollars a day because I learned how not to lose off the floor. I didn't front run. When you're on the floor, you could see who's winning and losing. You could see your adversary, your opponent. If that guy is sweating with his stack of cards and the market's going down, you know he's long. It's like poker. And then they short like wolves, like a pack of wolves, not the one wolf, and they knock it down. But you can't see that. And that's what Mark, the first time I met him, he goes, how the, he used more colorful language. How the heck do you know who's on the other side of that trade? I said, I know who's on the other side of the trade. The loser. Well, what are you going to win? I says, here's a good quote, right, by Muhammad Ali. To believe, to become a great champion, you first must believe you're a great champion. And if you're not, pretend. That's what he did. I mean, he faked out Sonny Liston. Michael Eisner, the head of Disney World, once said, mediocrity is what fearful people will always settle for. Very powerful quotes. That's the mental side of the game. You have to believe that you're going to do this. So make the goal what I call newbie proof. Anybody, like my quote to my coach, any idiot could make $35. She said, well, then why not try to be the idiot? You haven't done it before. And that really sunk in because if any idiot can do it, how come I lost money for 49 months in a row? I had to undo what I did. I eventually painted that wall that said, and my fiance was saying, what? You're going to have to paint that wall. And I said, that's a lot cheaper than the, order filled. We talked about that. The market is very happy, order filled. You could just blown out your account. It won't say, oh man, I'm
You
really
did it
sorry.
right.
Order filled, And if you make a lot, yeah, so I don't want the extremes of the high of winning, the agony of defeat and the beautiful part of winning, the high. No, I don't want that. I want a nice steady, like my first job in high school was as a produce clerk for King Cullen supermarkets. We had to clean the vegetables. Then it wasn't plastic. Nothing was in plastic. You had to go take the chicory and break off a bad leaf. And when, Mrs. Slobada came in and said, the watermelons are too soft, and she walked out, you didn't like get mad and quit and, oh, I'm going to lose. And when somebody bought, three eggplants, you didn't call up all your friends. Guess what? We sold three eggplants today. It was just like, it's vegetables. I'm selling vegetables. And that's the way we continued. That's the way I trade now. You will never know if I'm winning or losing. Even with except now, 300, today, I've gone 303 trades in a row since August without a loss. That's never been done before. And I have, and I keep putting the track record online. And it's going to lose tomorrow, probably be the first loss, but that's okay. I've already proven that you can go through a period with being consistent, and that's the key.
Absolutely. So to wrap it up, I would like to thank you for all of your um, incredible insights that you have shared with our audience and incredible learning that you have shared right now. And I would like to thank you from the deep of my heart because we bring on super traders here, but I think that you are the man to listen, and I do not say that ever because I really have been enjoying to listen to what you have to say. and to your wisdom and to your confidence when you speak about what you love be doing the most. Um, so
Thank
I
you.
think I think it's a miraculous achievement. So I really happy for that opportunity to meet you and to have you here on our show, the Trade Pod. And thank you. Thank you.
Well, I thank you. And if just 10% of your audience can take something positive out of it and motivate themselves to achieve their
Where
own
do they need to
excellence.
find you? Where do they need to find you?
Okay, the website is dowtradingroom.com. One word, Dow,
Dow
like the Dow
Trading.
Jones average,
Guys, Dow
dowtradingroom.com.
Trading Room.
And one
All
day my
right,
memoir will
guys.
be released if I can get an editor.
Yeah. Well, all right, guys. Thank you for being here today. Alex, I would like to thank you again. It
Thank
was
you.
an incredible pleasure meeting you and see you soon.
And I'll see you soon in the room. I'll send you that link. Thank you.
Of course, of course. Bye bye.
Bye bye.